Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this bag. It's made with the cluster stitch. It's got plastic canvas at the bottom, so it's nice and strong and it holds its shape. So in addition to the yarn and the plastic canvas, you're also going to need a set of handles. I got these off an old bag that I purchased at a garage sale or something. I repurposed them. Or you can always buy handles off eBay, and Amazon sells them. Or you can make your own handles. I almost decided to make my own handles, but I just went ahead and used these because I have them. And you can make any type of handle that you want. And you're also going to need a set of these magnetic buttons. You can get these at Walmart too, in the button aisle. They come two in a pack, and what they do is they just snap together, and that just allows it to close a little better. And it's really pretty easy, so let's go ahead and get started on it. Okay, for this project I am using a regular Red Heart Super Saver, which is a medium weight 100% 4-ply acrylic yarn. But you don't have to use this brand. You can use any type of 4-ply yarn that you have. And I'm going to be using 3 different colors. This one's Cafe Latte. It's like that big old jumbo roll. I sent my husband in to get it for me, and that's what he brought me. But I'm not complaining. I'll use it for something. And then I'm using Spring Green. And then I'm going to be using turquoise, I guess. Something like that. But you can use any colors you want. You can make it a solid color. It's really up to you, however you want to do it. And then you're going to need a piece of plastic canvas for the bottom. You don't have to put plastic canvas on the bottom. I'm going to put it on the bottom because it makes the bottom of the bag a little stronger. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to start out making the bottom of the bag. And we're going to make 2 pieces that look like this. And then what we'll do is we'll sew them together, and we'll cut out a piece of plastic canvas about the same shape, and we'll slide this inside in between them. So I got one done. We're going to need 2 of these the same. And I'm using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Sorry about that. I forgot to tell you that in the beginning. So to start that piece on the bottom, you want to start with the slip knot on your hook. And then we're going to start off with the chain of 30. That's what you want to start with. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 7. Okay, and once you get your chain of 30 made, we want to go ahead and double crochet in the 4th stitch from the hook. And remember, we never count the one that's on our hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and double crochet into that 4th stitch. Just like that. And now we're going to put 1 double crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain. Just like this until you get to the end of your chain. Okay, when you make it all the way to the end and you have 1 stitch left, what we're going to do is we're going to put 6 double crochets into this last stitch. All into the same stitch, 6 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start working down this side of the chain, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch. So here's where we put the 6. So I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm just going to put 1 double crochet. And now I'm just going to work across this opposite side of the chain, putting 1 double crochet in every stitch until I get over to the other side. Just like this, all the way till you get over here. Okay, when you come down here to the other end, I'll show you what we're going to do here. Okay, here's the, from the beginning, there's this little chain here on the end. That's actually counting as a stitch. So you want to make sure you go into this stitch right here, the underside of it, like right here, and put a double crochet in it. And then this here, this little chain thing, is actually going to count as our last stitch. So we're going to put 6 double crochets right down here in this bottom chain here. And you can see it right about there. So we're just going to go right into it. I know it's not really a stitch, but it's the chain and it's counting as a stitch. So we're going to put 6 double crochets in it. So there's 1, all in that same spot. 2, 3, 4, 5, nope, and then 6. And now what we're gonna do is slip stitch into the top of this same stitch, so it's gonna be right here. See, this is the top of this stitch, so we're gonna go right here into that chain and slip stitch into it, just like that. Now, counting that chain right there and all the way around, you should have a total of 65 stitches now. And now we're going to go around again, and we're going to start by chaining 1, and we're going to go right back into the same spot. So right here where we slip stitch, and we're going to put 2 double crochets. So right here in this little hole here, 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2. And now we're going to go right here to the next stitch, kind of pull them apart so you can see, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into that stitch. There's 1 and 2. And now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch until I get down to the other end. So we had 2 double crochets there in our first 2 stitches, and now I'm just going to work 1 double in every stitch until I get down over here, and I'll meet you over here and I'll show you what we're going to do to round this corner. Okay, I made it down here to the other end, and if you look, you can see where we put the 6 stitches right there in the corner. Now you want to go to the 2 stitches right before that. So here's the 6, so go back 1 and go back 2 right there, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in that stitch and 2 double crochets in that stitch. Those are the 2 stitches before the 6 that we put on the end there. So go ahead and put 2 stitches, 2 double crochets to that first one, and then 2 double crochets into the next one. And now we're at the 6 that are in the end. You can see them right here, and we're going to put 2 double crochets in each of these 6 stitches that round this corner. So 2 in each of them. So there's 2 in that one, 2 in the next, 2 in the next, 2 in the next, 2 in the next again, and then 2 in the last, like that. So we put 2 stitches in each of the 6 that were in that rounded that corner. Now we're going to put 2 double crochets in each of the next 2 stitches to match the other side where we put 2 in the ones before these 6. Now we're going to put 2 into the ones after. So 2 double crochets in the next 2 stitches. And there's 2 there. And 2 there. And now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in every stitch until I get down to the other side. And we're going to kind of do the same thing when we get down there. That way the corners match up. So I'm going to go ahead and work my 1 in every stitch until I get down here to this side, and I'll meet you up over there. Okay, I'm down here on the other side, and I have worked up until here's my 6 that I put in the corner. The 2 right before it, just like we did on the other side, we're going to do 2 double crochets in each of those 2 stitches. And then we're going to put 2 double crochet in each of these 6 here that are on the end. 2 in each of them. And now when we first started, we put 2 double crochets in the very first 2. So now both sides match up, and we're going to slip stitch right here into our first double crochet to end that round. And then when you make it to the end here, you should have a total of 85 stitches now. And remember, this chain one doesn't count as a stitch. So 85 stitches. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 again, and we're going to go around one more time. What we're going to do is we're going to work 1 double crochet right back into the same stitch, just like that. And now the next stitch, we're going to put 2 double crochets in it, in the same one there. And now the next stitch, we're going to put 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets, just like that. So we chained 1, and then we put 1 double back in the same stitch, 2 doubles in the next, 1 double in the next, 2 doubles in the next. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work 1 double crochet into the next 23 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, here's 22, and 23. Now we're going to be working around this corner. So we're going to put, and as you can see, it's actually starting in the stitch that we first put 2 double crochets in right here. If you spread your stitches across, you can see right here. So we're going to start by putting 2 double crochets into the very first stitch, or into the very next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next, 2 double crochets into the next, and then 1 double crochet into the next, 2 double crochets into the next, and then 1 double crochet into the next. And we're going to repeat that pattern, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, all around here until we get to the last stitch here of this previous row that we put 2 stitches in. You see it right here? There's 2 stitches into this stitch, and the rest on this side are just 1. You want to repeat that. 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1, all the way until you get to this last stitch. Okay, I've made it around the corner, and my last stitch, you see here where there's 2 in that one, the last one of that is just going to be 1 double crochet. And now we're going to start again by putting 1 double crochet into the next 23 stitches, not counting this one, starting with the next stitch. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's 22 and 23. And now we're going to work the 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, all around here, all around this last curve here. So we're going to start by doing 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then 1 double into the next, and then 2 doubles into the next, and then 1 double into the next, and then 2 and 1. And you want to repeat that all the way around until you get to the end here. Okay, when you make it all the way around here, your last stitch should have 2 double crochets in it, because the stitch before it had 1. But we're not going to put 2 in it, we're just going to put 1 in the last one. So you'll have 1, this one had 1, and normally this one would be 2 to follow the order, but we're just going to put 1 in that last one. And now you should have, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet. You should have a total of 104 double crochets around. Remember, we did the 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and the last stitch should have had 2 in it, but we put 1 in it because we need it to be an even number for our next stitches to work. So now you should have 104 stitches all the way around, and now you can clip this and tie it off, and you want to do 2 of these the exact same. Okay, now when you get your 2 done, what you want to do is cut your piece of canvas here. Doesn't have to be cut perfect, but just kind of put it on it and cut it just a little bit smaller all the way around, like that. Like I said, it don't have to be exact, but just kind of the same shape. You see mine's all kind of, is not very straight on the corners, but that's okay. So you want to put one side, this wrong side's facing, and then the wrong side facing. So the wrong side's facing, so when you sew them together, both of the right sides are going to be facing up. We're going to go ahead and start sewing them together, and we'll slip this in later. So I'm going to use my thin color yarn, and you can start anywhere that you want, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put my stitches, make sure your stitches are all lined up. So just kind of look on both sides. Let's see, here's where I put 2 in the same stitch. The first time I put 2 in the same stitch on this piece, I'm going to find it on the other piece right here, and that's where I'll start. I'll put my hook through the first one here and hook there. That way they're in the same stitch on both pieces. Go ahead and draw through and chain 1. What I'm going to do is single crochet this together. So I'm going to go back through those same stitches and single crochet. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch on both pieces and single crochet. And the next stitch on both pieces and single. And I'm just going to do this all the way around. And this is going to sew my 2 pieces together. Going to make my bottom a lot stronger. So I'm just going to keep working around here. Keep single crocheting it together all the way around here till I get about somewhere over here, and then I'll meet you back over here and we'll slide this back in. So just kind of work around till you get over here to this corner, kind of. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I kind of went around the corner here, is I'm going to stick my piece of plastic in before I sew it all the way up. So I just kind of wiggle it in there. I don't know, I might have sewed it too shut already, but just want to slide it in there. So it lays flat. If you need to trim it up some, you can. It ain't gonna fit right, but there we go. Now you'll have a nice strong, well, a lot stronger of a bottom than you would have if you just did one flat bottom on the crochet. Just one flat single crochet bottom. Now you just continue sewing it up by single crocheting it together until you get over there to where you started. Just like that. So I'm going to keep working until I get back over here to the beginning. Okay, once you make it to the end, you want to count around and make sure you still have your 104 stitches. You got to have that 104. And if you counted and you have that 104, what we're going to do now is we're going to be doing rounds of single crochet. So you're going to need a stitch marker. I'm just going to use this piece of yarn. And I'm going to place it right here. That way I know where my row begins and where it ends. So I'm not going to slip stitch into this first stitch. What I'm going to do is just single crochet right here into the very first single crochet. Not the chain one that we did that's right here, but this very first single crochet. I'm going to go right into it and single crochet. And now I'm just going to be working rounds of one single crochet in every stitch. All the way around the entire piece until I get back to my stitch marker. And then what I'm going to do is move my stitch marker up and continue doing rounds of single crochet. Now you should, at the end of every round, continue having 104 stitches. You want to make sure that you have that 104 at the end of every round. Now I'm going to keep doing these rounds, and the more rounds you do, you'll see that they'll start eventually to turn up and form the base of the bag, or the bottom, very bottom part of the bag. So I'm going to work around until I get to my stitch marker. Okay, once you make it back to your stitch marker, you want to make sure you have your 104 stitches still, and then you just pull it out and put it right back, move it up like that, and then you start again working one single crochet in every stitch. So like I said, it's just rounds of one single crochet for a while. So I'm going to build up the bottom of the bag with these rounds of single crochet, and you kind of work with it here to make it turn up a little bit, but it'll work. It'll start looking better the more rounds you get on it. Like that. So I'm going to continue doing rounds of one single crochet in every stitch, moving my stitch marker up at the end of every round, making sure I have 104 stitches at the end of every round. Okay, I went ahead and did 5 rounds of single crochet. So if you pull it out, you'll see it's actually, when you look, you'll probably count 6, because there's the row of single crochet that we sewed it together with, and then I did 5 more after that. So it's 5 actually, but if you count that row that we sewed it together with, it'll be 6. But you can actually do more or less if you want. It's really up to you, but that's going to be the bottom part of my bag. So I made it to my stitch marker. Now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into my next stitch, and I'm going to clip that yarn and tie that off like that. Now I can move this marker out, and now we're going to start our new color. Now you can start that anywhere that you want. I'm probably going to kind of start it on one of these side stitches. That way maybe the seam's not so noticeable. But just in any stitch with the work facing you like this. Go ahead and pull your yarn through. Now chain 1. Now we're going to do a cluster. So we're going to yarn over, go into that same stitch, drop a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. And we want to do that 4 times. So that was once. Now again, we're going to yarn over into the same stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. So that's 2 times. Again, yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. 3 times. So one more time, we're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook, and we'll have 5 loops remaining. You want to yarn over and go through all 5 loops like that, and then we're going to chain 1, and that is going to be our cluster stitch. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch and we're going to do the cluster into the next stitch. So we're going to yarn over, skip this stitch and go into the next stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook, and we're going to do that 4 times total. So that was 1. Again, yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. It's 2. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. That's 3 times. 1 more time, yarn over, go into the same stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then you'll have 5 loops remaining. Yarn over, go through all 5 loops, and then chain 1. And that is what we're going to do all the way around. So we're going to skip the next stitch, and then we're going to cluster stitch into the next. So yarn over, go in, drop a loop and yarn over and go to the first 2, and you want to do that 4 times. So that was 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. You'll have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through all 5 loops, and chain 1. And I'm going to continue doing that all the way around until I get back here to my first stitch. So I'm going to skip the next stitch and cluster into the next. Five loops, yarn over, go through all 5, and chain 1. Skip the next stitch and cluster into the next. I'll do it one more time. Five loops, yarn over, go through all 5, and chain 1. And that is what I'm going to do all the way around, and I'll meet you when I'm right back here at the beginning. Okay, once you make it all the way around, what we're going to do is slip stitch. We're going to end up by slip stitching into the top of this first cluster. So this little spot right here will work. Right there. Now I'm going to color change. You don't have to if you don't want to. But when I color change, I always clip off my yarn because I'm not really good at color changing and making it look very good. So I always tie off and I start my new color. Now, we want to start our new color in the chain 1 space of these, because that's where we're going to be working now, between these clusters. So this is where I tied off, so I can start in the same spot, or in the same chain 1 space right here, the one right next to it. Now if you want to do it all in one solid color, all you would have to do is just slip stitch over to the next chain 1 space. But I'm going to go ahead and start a new color, and you can do this in as many colors as you want. It could be like a scrap yarn bag or something like that. But I'm just going to start in the chain 1 space, so just right through it, right in between it. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the previous round. I'm going to try to hide these tails as I go though. I'm going to start by chaining 1, and now I'm going to work a cluster in that chain space. So I'm going to yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. And I want to do that a total of 4 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'll have 5 loops, yarn over, go through all 5, and chain 1. Now I'm going to jump over here to the next, in between the next 2 clusters, this chain 1 space, and I'm going to do a cluster right into that chain 1 space, all the way through it, just like that. Yarn over, go through all 5 loops, chain 1, and then I'm going to jump to the next, in between the next 2, the next chain 1 space, and do it again. So I'm pretty much kind of just repeating the row that I just did. And actually that's what the whole bag is now. It's just doing these clusters in the chain 1 spaces. When you get back around, you just slip stitch again, and then you can tie off and start a new color, and you can do it however you want, whatever colors you have. Just be creative. Chain 1, and that's what it starts to look like. And we're going to do this cluster stitch, it's real easy, until we reach the height that we want it to be. So I'm going to continue around, putting a cluster stitch in each one of these chain 1 spaces, and chain 1 in between each of them. And then when I get back around, I'll just slip stitch into the top of my very first cluster, and I'm going to tie off, and then I'll start my next color in the chain 1 space and do it again. And I'm just going to keep repeating that until I get my bag as tall as I want it to be. Okay, I went ahead and did 11 rows of the clusters, but you can do more if you'd like, or you know, just depending on how tall you want it. But now I'm going to go ahead and go around the top with some single crochet like we did at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead with my color that I used at the bottom, and at the end of my cluster I just tied off like we did at the end of each row. And now I'm going to start somewhere on the end here again in one of these chain 1 spaces, and I want to chain 1, and I'm going to go right back into that same space and put 1 single crochet like that. And now I'm going to put a single crochet into the top of the cluster stitch, that, and then a single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and then a single crochet here in the top of the cluster stitch, and then a single crochet right here in the chain 1. And I'm going to kind of do that all the way around. Single crochet here into the top of the cluster. If you pull it up, you can see it. And then 1 in the chain 1 space. Right here in the top of the cluster. And then 1 and the chain 1 space, and then in the top, and then the chain 1 space. And I'm going to continue this all the way around until I get back over here to the beginning. Okay, when you make it all the way around back to the beginning, you should have 104 stitches. If you don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you're close to that, it's not really going to matter anymore. So don't fret if you don't have it. It's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to put 5 rows of single crochet, and we're going to kind of do it the same way we did it at the bottom. So I'm going to bring my stitch marker back out again, and I'm going to put it right here. That way I know where I begin and end. And I'm going to jump over here to the first single crochet, not that chain 1, but the first single crochet. I'm going to single crochet into it. And now I'm going to work around, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get back to my stitch marker. And when I get to my stitch marker, I'm just going to move it up and go around again. And I'm going to do that for a total of 5 rounds. We're working on our second round right now. So I'm going to continue until I get my 5 rounds of single crochet done. Okay, once you make it all the way around with your 5 rounds of single crochet, and I made it back to my stitch marker, I'm going to go ahead and just take that out. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to end by slip stitching into the next stitch. And I'm going to clip my yarn, and I'm going to tie this off, and I'm going to go ahead and hide this tail and any other tails that I have, and then we'll put the buttons on, the magnetic buttons. Okay, I got one of my magnetic buttons put on. Now I'll show you how I do it. So you want to flip it over to the side here. Here's your corner, because we put them on both ends. Now I kind of just try to find my center by eyeballing it. So I kind of hold up my corner, and I take my hook right through the center, and I kind of just follow it up, eyeballing it, getting it as close as I can to the center. That's the best way, really, I think, to do it. So I think right about here it's the center. So I'm just gonna mark it somehow. I'll put a little stitch here, that way I know. So once you get your center there, take your magnetic buttons. They look like this, and they hook together, and then they got these 2 backs on them if you've never used them before. And you might need a pair of pliers to squeeze them together. But where I'm going to put mine is, I got my center marked. I'm going to go down to the next row. See this one? I'm going to count 4 over from this one. So here's my center, and this one's in the center of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put 1 button there. So what I'm going to do is just push it right through that cluster. And then just kind of put it back loosely on it for now, so I don't lose where it needs to go, like that. And then I find my center again. Right here is my center. So I go down 1 row. Now I'm going to go over 4 over from this one again on the opposite side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where I'm going to put my next button. So I take it and just push it right into the cluster. And then I'm going to put my back on it. Now you can put yours wherever you want. That's just kind of the way I always put them on. I kind of just eyeball it. Try to get them centered as best as I can. Well, that one's crooked for some reason. Okay. Now when you look and you see your center, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clusters in between your buttons. And you want to do it the same way on both sides. So you can remove that now. And now what I do to put them on, you might need a pair of pliers, and you just got to squeeze these sides down. Sometimes I can do it on the table. Most of the time I can't. I don't know. But they kind of just flatten down on both sides. And that holds your button there, like that. But I'm going to get a pair of pliers to do the rest, and then squeeze it, that one that way and that one that way. And you want to do the other side the same way. Okay, once you get done with the buttons, you can see they snap right together. And that way you can open it, make it bigger, and close it. Now for the handles, I went ahead and just sewed mine on with yarn and a yarn needle. If you don't have these type of handles, you can make your own handle. You can put 2 short ones, 1 long one, 2 long ones, whatever you want. And just, if you do have these, a type with a ring on them, like I said, just use a regular yarn and yarn needle and just sew them on. It's real easy. Or just crochet 1 or 2, or however you want to do it. It's your bag, you do it. Make it. I'm sure you'll make it look awesome. So if you make this, I'd like to see a picture of it. You can post a picture on the Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. Also, please don't forget to check out all my other tutorials. I got hundreds of them for you to choose from. And until next time, have a good day.